Hi friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I told you guys I was going to fill you in after Lyle Shanahan spoke regarding injuries. Don't forget the 49ers just lost 23-17. Unfortunately, the Minnesota Vikings, who have beat the 49ers every time the 49ers have flown to Minneapolis since 1994, which is before I was born. They lose once again, this time to a Sam Darnold-led Minnesota Vikings team. Anyways, I'm here in Minneapolis. It is absolutely beautiful. I'll cut some clips in. Look at all these bridges. I was just walking all around. I went down that way earlier and a big recording started screaming at me and it was like, "You are trespassing." And then I kind of thought it was cool and I wanted to get it on video for you guys, but I wussed out. I got too scared to run back over there. I didn't want to get shocked or something in case there was like a warning one, and then if I kept pushing it, I don't know. I put my hands up. I was like, I'm not doing anything. My bad. Here to give you the injury report because Lyle Shanahan just talked. Now, don't forget, sometimes things come up a couple hours later. These players have a lot of adrenaline pumping in them, and sometimes injuries take a little bit longer for them to like go to sleep and really feel like, okay, this isn't just soreness that's going to wear off. Kittle did leave during the game, but he spoke in the post-game press conference and said that was just him getting an IV. He was getting some cramps. Fred Warner talked about losing and said it's not about working harder, it's just about working smarter. Now, that's kind of funny because Fred Warner had a crazy dominant performance, so he's not really one that needs to work harder or smarter. He's doing the best on the team right now. But talking about the overall team, Nick Bosa also said that they know why they lost and they're going to make the adjustments, but he wouldn't elaborate on what that is yet. I don't know if that's just him kind of doing PR talk because they obviously haven't had time to watch the film yet, and you would think if they knew why they were losing while they were doing it that they would have made the in-game adjustment. But for injuries, Lyle Shanahan, as of right now, said there's actually no injuries at all to report, which is amazing news. This is only week 2, so the most you can ask for is a healthy team. Come back against the Rams in the NFC West, get that win. You're going to feel good going forward. But I do want to say, I don't think that people can categorize this as like fans overreacting and it just being a week 2 loss, because the Vikings are in the NFC and the 49ers are an older veteran team. Every time they've made it to the Super Bowl, they have gotten that number 1 seed. 2019 and last year, they secured that number 1 seed and got that bye week. If you now think this 49er team is filled with veterans, the core is veterans, they need that rest. And also injuries are plaguing this team. Right now, Christian McCaffrey isn't playing. Nick Bosa left the game with an injury. Now, he did speak post-game, and Lyle Shanahan said there's nothing to report there. Nick Bosa said someone rolled up on his quad and he got scared, that maybe his calf tightened up and his quad was hurt, but he ended up being fine. I don't think it's overreacting to say that this is an unacceptable loss. Brock Purdy threw 310 passes, and Sam Darnold threw 200. Jordan Mason was unstoppable, and the Vikings, I will say, their run game was also very, very impressive. But it's like, this was them really trying. So I don't think it's easy to just brush this off, especially because it's not like CMC is just coming back next week. So the excuse can't just be, oh, well, we were missing CMC and we weren't prepared for that. The 49ers have been preparing for Christian McCaffrey to miss this game. He didn't play last week, and it was honestly a coaching mismatch. And it's been that way. Last year, Shanahan got out-coached by Brian Flores' defense and by Kevin O'Connell with Kirk Cousins. This year it's with Sam Darnold, and I don't think Sam Darnold did anything spectacular. Also, Justin Jefferson left the game at the end of the third quarter, and the 49ers, I guess if you would have given them an extra quarter, maybe they would have came back because they were kind of pushing for a comeback. But a lot of that was just that Fred Warner had allowed them the opportunity because he punched the ball out on the sidelines and then punched the ball out again in the end zone twice when the Minnesota Vikings were about to score again. They had to work really hard. It looked like they were putting so much effort to put points on the field, especially in the red zone, and they were only 2 for 10. 2 for 10, and that looked difficult. It looked like they were struggling and putting all of their effort into getting 2 for 10 in the red zone. That's not acceptable. I think it's fair for fans. I'm not saying 49ers aren't going to make the playoffs, panic, Lyle Shanahan. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I think it's fair to have some criticism on why this team looked utterly unprepared and why it was so difficult for them to score 17 points. It looked like the Jimmy G offense. The O-line was horrible, and they actually had a pretty good game last week. Maybe that Jets defense just isn't all it's cracked up to be. Obviously, I have a ton of respect for Robert Saleh, but Javon Kinlaw is starting on that team, so that might tell you about where they were at. I mean, they traded for Hassan Reddick, but he sat out last week and then again this week. So maybe we just overestimated how good the offensive line was, because they completely struggled this week. Good news is no injuries to report so far. Now we will see once they travel back and there's been a night. Is there anything else reported? The only people that left the game, once again, were Bosa and Kittle, both of who talked after the game, which is a great sign, and both of who said, Kittle said he wasn't injured at all. He said it was just cramping and getting an IV. And then Bosa said it was mostly him being startled. He was just rolled up on after a sack. But anyways, 2 for 10 in the red zone. You got to look at that, because even against the Jets, until the halfway point, I felt like the 49ers were struggling to get points on the field, but then they ran away with it at the end, so people kind of downplayed it and said, okay, this isn't an issue. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. I tried to walk down to some cool area to give you guys some views, but it kind of smells bad right here. But Minneapolis has been great. I guess if you like hiking and waterfalls and bridges, it's very beautiful. Like, I'm not downing it. Also, I will say, after the game, these Midwest towns, this happened in Pittsburgh too. After the game, Vikings fans were like high-fiving 49er fans on their back outside the stadium and being like, good game, you're gonna get them next week. Like, there was no bad blood. I mean, maybe there was somewhere, but as far as I saw in the tailgating area and all that, there was no bad blood, and people were very kind. Although they do think Sam Darnold is the truth, which I still don't believe. Even though Sam Darnold has now won 2 games, I still can't believe that Sam Darnold is the truth. I have to believe that this is just a fluke. I mean, he can throw the ball down the field. That 97-yard touchdown to Justin Jefferson was beautiful, but a lot of the times he's like scared in the pocket. Like, he sees Nick Bosa and he's like, but he sees anyone who's like that. Brock Purdy is someone I usually think of who doesn't have that, and I wouldn't necessarily say he started doing that today, but I will say it felt like he was melting a little bit by the second fumble. David Lombardi said that he thought the fumble was because it's hot in the stadium. It is hot outside, but the stadium is temperature controlled, and I don't think Brock Purdy slipped because it was hot. I think that is an excuse. I just think that the pressure was getting to him. That offensive line was horrible, and the wide receivers weren't really getting open. The pass production was weak. There was no dump-off passes without Christian McCaffrey. I felt like Kyle Shanahan's scheme was boring and plain. But aside from that, no one's injured, and it's on to the Rams next week. Anyways, that's the update. Please like and subscribe, because I will bring any breaking news that comes today. I'll go live again, and if not, I will be live with Tom Jensen to recap the game tomorrow. Thank you guys so much. Make sure to like and subscribe. Bye!